Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you for listening. This week's episode, it's a good one. I think y'all are gonna enjoy it. I'm just gonna let y'all get straight into it. I don't want to say too much. Shout out to my editor. Still working through the kinks, y'all, but always leave any comments. And thank you for listening. Yeah. So, without further ado, here's the podcast. Guys, welcome back to the podcast. Hello. Today's panel is Fiza. Say hi.
Hello.
And Angelique.
How are y'all doing?
Say hi, Angie.
Hi, guys.
Okay, y'all know them. We love them. Today's episode is, if I'm being honest, we're not friends if ... So we're gonna go over friendship. I know, right, guys? We literally just had this conversation in my friend group like the other day. It's actually super funny. I'll give it to Angie and Fiza to start.
Okay, firstly, I want to touch on what do we look for in a friend. I know we all have different standards. We all, consider different people friends. Everyone has different standards from each other. But what do we really look for in a friend? So, Fiza, what do you look for in a friend?
For me personally, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if I'm actively talking to someone and giving effort to speak to you, then you already know that I want to be your friend. I'm never gonna give an effort and talk to someone if I want nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? That's just the way I am. I'm just a very blunt person. If I don't like you, you'll know. I'll make it very obvious. I don't want anything to do with people who I don't want in my life. So friends would be people I do want in my life, and depending on the values they share or the interests they have, if they share those same things in common with me, then that's definitely something that I'll look for actively when I'm talking to someone and seeing them as a potential friend. I'm curious about you guys. At what point when you talk to someone do you consider seeing them as a potential friend, or at what point are they truly your friend?
I like that because honestly, I'm the person that believes in associates. Just because we cool does not make us friends. Does anybody else feel like that? Just because we talk does not make us friends. Yeah, Angie, speak on it. Clock that.
I do heavily believe in associates, actually. There are people in my life, right, where every time I talk to them, other people in my life are like, oh, I didn't know you talked to them, And I feel like there are certain qualities or baselines that have to be met in order for someone to be my friend. And it's not going to be a one-sided thing where I'm not going to tell them we're not friends, but I'm going to act like it. No, I'm going to let the person know, hey, I see you as this. I don't think we're on that level yet, but obviously I'm going to let them know. I just don't feel like I'm going to label everyone I talk to as a friend.
I agree. I think I believe in acquaintances, but even then, I don't believe in friends. I believe in best friends or close friends. You know what I mean? If I consider you a friend, then I'm gonna actively go out of my way to contact you and talk to you as best as I can. So if I'm obviously doing that, then I consider you a close friend or a best friend. I don't believe in just friends, but I do believe in acquaintances because I think that's a big difference, because that's how you make connections and build trust within coworkers or other peers in your educational academic environment or professional environment. That's just how you have to handle these kind of relationships with other people. It's just proper
Girl, can
etiquette.
you explain a little more? Because I've never heard nobody say that. What do you mean you don't believe in friends, but you believe in close friends and best friends?
It's just the way I am. I don't believe in friends. I believe in I feel I don't think there is a range where it should be acquaintances, friends, and then best friends. I don't put people on that pedestal, you know what I mean? I don't have that range. It's either you're my acquaintance, you're a coworker or just a peer, or you're my friend, but I consider friends close, so I'll just say close friends or best friends. I don't believe in just friends.
That's interesting. Okay, let me read. I want honest communication in my friendships. Right, we're gonna touch on that. Angie's gonna talk about that. I believe in acquaintances. You should be able to engage with someone without being labeled friends. I feel like it's so important to have loyalty in friendships, because if you don't trust your own friends with your words or actions, are they actually a friend? We're gonna talk about that. I think some friends are closer than others. I agree with that too, because I think that y'all know those friends that have a certain dynamic, to where it's just oh, I talked to this friend about this, but don't really feel comfortable talking to them about this, but we still friends. The love is still the same. It's just different friends are for different things, and I feel like that's not a bad thing. Some friends may be oh, why you didn't tell me about XYZ, but that may not be your area. It may not be a level of comfortability, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I think everyone already knows this because I talk about it so much. My biggest value is community and like being polite or formal, having like decent manners and things like that. So I feel like the way I view the world, everyone is already considered like not a friend. Like I said, I don't believe in friends, but an acquaintance. I already like perceive everyone as that, you know? So for me, my range, I feel like for other people's range, it's like stranger, acquaintance, friend, best friend. But for me, it's just stranger, acquaintance, friend. I mean, no, best friend. That's how the range is for me. I already give everyone that acquaintance title by default because I think that's what forms relationships and a good environment and like, again, community.
And I think that's why it's easier to have friendships now, like our age, especially when you're in school, college too, because you have close proximity. So like when you're in class, you see somebody every day, y'all talk, y'all interact, y'all automatically acquainted, you know? So it just creates that sense of like, oh, okay, we cool. It gives you grounds to have friends. I've seen adult friendships where like you have to go out of your way in order to maintain that friendship. You know what I mean? You have to go out of your way to adjust that schedule, you know? And that's why a lot of adult friendships is like, they be cool, but you haven't talked to her in 6 months. You know what I'm saying? Like we be ready to crash out when you ain't text me back 2 hours ago. So it's a difference. I don't know. That leads me to the question for y'all. Do you think you're a good friend? I'll start with Angelique. Do you think you're a good friend, and what makes you a good friend?
Honestly, I believe I am a good friend. There are some things I need to work on. I think one thing that makes me a good friend is I always talk about this, but my communication skills. Listen, some people have different opinions for it, okay? But the base opinion that I always hear for myself is I'm really good with communicating. Not just communicating my feelings, but being able to tell you like I need to step back, or if you need to come to me, you can talk to me. Listen, the chat's blowing up. They love my communication. I feel like sometimes something I don't realize is that a lot of these things are like second nature to me, because it's always like I would want somebody to do this for me.
Right.
So I'm gonna be the friend I want to be for somebody else. It always makes me feel good to just be there for somebody, you know?
I agree. I feel like what makes a good friend, I don't know. It has to be something about consistency. That's what I'm thinking, because you can be a good friend in like one area or one day, or like, okay, you're good with this, but you're terrible at this. You may have bad communication, but you are a good listener. You may be, you know, or like say you're consistent and I can call you if I need to, but like you're never around, you know, you never answer your phone. So how am I supposed to, you supposed to be a good friend if I can't rely on you? I can't lean on you. I'm going through something, you know what I'm saying? And you may have things going on. Like, how does that make you a good friend? Not saying you gotta be everybody beck and call, but like, if I feel like there's a certain level of friendships where it's like, if I need to call on you, you should be able to be there. You should be consistent, or you should hit me back, or see what was up, or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I think a friend to someone depends on like what their values is. Especially for me, I acknowledge that a friend to me is when someone shares the same values as me, which is like a big thing. There's also other aspects, like if I just vibe with you or something, I don't know. Think of it like this: someone else's friend, you might not consider them a good friend to you simply because they don't share the same values as you, but they might share the same values as that person who they consider a friend. You understand what I'm saying? So it genuinely just depends on like the person you are, the values you value, and what you hold close to you.
Okay, I want to say, not that I disagree with your point, Dana. I do believe consistency is, definitely one of the main things that I value in friendship. However, describing it as having someone just always be there for you, or like always hitting you back, there will be times in a friendship where somebody is not going to be able to fulfill those needs, right? So personally, I don't believe in somebody giving you 100% in a friendship. I believe in somebody giving you their all, but their all does not have to be 100%. Sometimes they can only give you 60, sometimes they can only give you 40, but what matters is they give you all. Same with consistency. Sometimes they won't be there for you. When it comes to me, I feel like if they're communicating, which is why they go hand in hand, if they're communicating that, hey, I'm just like not feeling well, or hey, I can't do this, then that's okay. Just don't make it a consistent thing to not be there for me, or I can't consider you a friend.
I agree so bad with the consistency, like your point on consistency. I also agree with Dana's, but at the same time, I understand Angie's point a lot better because, me and her are very similar in this aspect. I think when you consider someone a friend, you form that mutual trust already. So if you are not giving enough effort, it's not going to be considered as offensive or, I don't know, hurtful or like negatively perceived as it would be someone else or another friend, because they understand you so well and they know your intention so well. I feel like that's what matters more. I feel like it matters the connection, the bond, not how often you talk, not how quote unquote normal your relationship or friendship is. Consistency isn't always everything. It depends on like the true relationship and bond you guys know you have between each other, you know, the understanding.
Yeah, I want to play off that so I can dive deeper. The part about showing up for each other, people have different, we already know relationships, people have different love languages, but in friendships people have love languages too. You know, people have to feel like valued. You know what I'm saying? How are you friends with somebody and you know you feel like your problems don't matter to them, or something, you can't come to them and talk to them about something that bothers you because they don't care or anything like that, but like I really did want you to show up to my birthday party, you know what I'm saying, to show up there for me. Oh, okay, I didn't really care that you forgot my birthday, but like when I was posting on my story that I'm crying, you didn't swipe up and say what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? People have things of like what they require to in order to feel heard, in order to feel cared for, and I feel like it's very important that you tailor to that. You know, we can't just be, you know, one way, like, oh well, I'm just not this type of person and either you get with it or get lost. I feel like that's not how you have healthy relationships. I don't know though, but y'all give me y'all thoughts.
I mean, I think I could use my friendship with you as an example, or my friendship with like honestly anyone. Like I am not a very consistent person. It's really bad. I have my own things going on, you know. I don't always have on my mind like, oh, I forgot I had to hit up this person, like let them know like this and that, like how's it going with them, what's going on in their life. Like I just don't have that constantly on my mind. It's not a matter of like I just don't care. It's just I have so much going on in my life that like I just need to unwind, you know. I can't always be thinking about everyone else. I need to think about myself sometimes. And that's why like I don't make friendships my whole life. Everything is just like so equal in like levels that I can't give my proper like care to each part. I have nothing that I like value more over anything, not even family. Like I put everything on the same level. So knowing that and knowing me, if you are my friend, you would know that even if I don't check in, like doesn't mean I don't care. It's just because I'm forgetful and I'm just not consistent. I genuinely just don't have it in me. I'm not programmed that way. Same with Dana, like she knows this. I always blow her off. Like, and it's like at the end of the day I feel so terrible about it because I do truly value her as a friend. Like she'll be like, can you call me up? And I'll be like, can we do next week? We can't really do this week. I'm sorry. Like,
and then
I'm really
next
busy.
week never comes.
Exactly. But I will still always show up for her. And I think that speaks true volumes. Like if I'm on her VIP panel for podcasts, you best believe no matter what I have going on, I have mountains of college work. I have mountains of regular work and chores and food to eat. I've put all of that aside because I value Dana so much and her hard work and her clubs and her values. If you say like post something and it says like you're not doing too well, if like that were to happen to me, I'm always gonna be like hitting the person up and being like, are you okay? Like I know we haven't talked today, but are you doing okay? I will always care about your well-being, no matter if you're an acquaintance or just a friend or a close friend or a mutual. Like I'll still hit you up because I just need to know like, are you okay? I have the same amount of care for everyone.
Yeah, let me read some of the comments. I feel like it's good to have a community. You feel safe to share, but you need to remember how close you are to a person. If you never truly are able to rely on them, no one's going to make your future except yourself, and your friend can't come and do the work for you. Yes, everyone's different, and some people make more suitable friends than others. I agree, not everyone's 100% every day. Some people need breaks. Just to remember to communicate that instead of putting that off. That part, that's what Angelique was saying. Some people who speak every few months know each other much better than those who speak every day. Facts. That goes into superficial conversations, which is the next talking point. We're going to talk about that. Valuing the other person is necessary to being a friend. You can't be a decent friend if you don't care about the other person. Exactly. I also feel like when it comes to friendships and communications, we need to really watch what we say, because something we say we might not find hurtful, the other person will. Right. So that brings me to my next point, because Faisal was saying in certain areas, you know, the ways that she is may not be the way that I am, but we're still good friends because of the fact that we show up for each other in the ways that matter, right? You know, if the time that we do catch up, I'm here to listen to Faisal, you know what I'm saying? And I'm finna tell her, you know, 100% what it is. I'm finna be proud of her. I'm finna, you know, whatever it is, that's how we show up for each other, and that's what matters. Just the quality quality for our relationship. And I feel like that's what it is. Me and Angelique are like that too. Recently we was talking more, but in general it's been quality. And I remember there was a time, Angie, you could tell me if you remember this, but I remember there was a time where like I was like, Angie, like what even is our friendship? Because like you would never talk to me, you know what I mean? And I was like, dang, I thought we was friends for real. But he was like, yeah, we are and everything. And we had to reconnect and realign on that, you know, and that's something that we had to communicate about. But that brings me to the next talking point for Angelique actually is time management in friendships, you know, how that works, people's schedules, all that type of stuff like that.
First of all, I would like to say that this talking point, I feel like is low-key on purpose because my time management
is
okay, it can be wonky. It's right up your alley. Yes, indeed, it is right up my alley. So, my time management personally is not always the best. I remember, I don't know, was it like a month or two ago where me and Dana were talking on a certain app, but it's an app she's like regularly using and I'm not always on there. So I feel like gave her like signs that maybe we're friends, maybe we're not. I'm not sure what wavelength we're on. And in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, Dana's a great friend. I talk about Dana every other day. That's my girl, right? So I guess my lack of just like being there or like being able to be on that app whenever she's there just put like some sort of doubt in her head. I feel like my scheduling isn't always great. And I know I always like preach about communication, but that is one thing I unfortunately don't always communicate. I don't always talk about it. I just say like, oh, sorry, I just like, I don't know, was busy or something. Sometimes it's not always on my head. Faiza's reason, I was like listening to her when she was talking earlier and she's like, oh, she, you know, puts everything on the same wavelength. I don't think like that. It's something that's not on my mind, just isn't on my mind. Like I genuinely forget to text people back, right? And it's not because I don't care, right? You can forget things and still care. It's just that there are certain things that are gonna be on your mind and you just don't get around to doing it. So when it came to Dana, like I was consistently talking about her, but I realized I wasn't always texting her. And then when she hit me with that text of, are we friends? It kind of made me feel like, what am I not giving to her? Like, is it my time? Am I not communicating right? And then we just sat down, we had that talk, which was really refreshing. And now after that talk, because I preach communication, we talk on 2 different apps, right? I'm always trying to be there for her. I'm always trying to be her partner in class. Like I really just value, you know, making time for people, making sure people understand that I'm not always going to run on certain times. Like I'll be there, but sometimes I won't. And if I am there, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be there for a long time. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, how many times I think the whole friend group can relate to this, but like, I'll pop up out of nowhere and be like, so what happened to da-da-da-da-da? And they be like, oh, honey, you're late. No, and I'm like, oh, somebody fill me in because, you know, the scheduling is off. Sometimes we may not talk. I be 10 chapters behind. I'm like, child, what is this? But I don't take that personally, you know, because I'm the type of person, everybody who know me, I'm the type of person, like, I'm not gonna fry you because you didn't text me back. What I'm gonna fry you for is when we haven't had a good conversation in months. You know what I mean? It's the quality of it, you know? That's why I always try to catch up here and there. And that's just like my way of caring, you know? I'm very much not like I'm just not a clingy person. It's just when it comes to the point of like, okay, I just don't know how you're doing. You could be going through the worst times of your life and I have no clue. To me, like as friends, I don't have a problem with that. You know what I mean? I should know how you're doing, you know, so we can be there for each other. And same way, if I'm going through something, you know, I would want to know that, okay, I could talk to you, you know, those things like that. So, and not everybody's like that. So it's just finding that balance and things like that and working around it. Cause like one of our last episodes, we are all seniors. And even if we're not, we're all in school. We all got things going on. We all got personal life. People got things going on. And so it's just like, and then we all go through our ups and downs, you know, emotional challenges, mood swings, all types of things. And it's just like, you gotta be understanding it. So that's just basically the word for today should be communication, because you know, communication. But while making time for your friends is important, it should always be understood that if time doesn't permit, you contact them at a certain point. Yes. I feel like in our mind, like if you're thinking about a friend, you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I talked to them? You know what I mean? Let me talk to them. If that's really like y'all really cool for real, you know, yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, why am I getting paragraphs in the chat? Okay, I'm literally like, if...
Oh, let me read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the paragraph I wrote, I didn't even know it was gonna come out to be a paragraph. But I'm literally like, if I'm not there for a long while, I'll make sure to be there for like the next few months to get that routine instilled in me. There's no reason for me to claim you as a friend if I am constantly putting doubt in your mind. You know, I don't want to be that friend that's just like there and then I'm never there, and you're like, are we friends? Or are you like a ghost in my mind? Like, are you not there in general? Or why else would I preach being your friend or a good one in general, which I always preach about being a good friend. I feel the issue is when you acknowledge your schedule is jumbled, you have to address it with everyone. So if you realize you're not like hitting up a certain person and you're supposed to be claiming to be a person's good friend and you just do nothing about it, that wouldn't make you a good friend at all. I guess I'll read Malak's comment. You said, that's really true. I'm not the best at communicating because every time I would come out and try to speak about my feelings, I'm so used to feeling like no one cares. Because every time I would share how I feel, they just sit there awkward instead of comforting me. I hate when people do that. I'm sorry. If you do that,
we're not friends. That's the whole word. If you do that, we're not friends, gang. If I'm being honest, we're not friends. Go ahead, finish her thing and we'll talk about that.
Exactly. So I always try to communicate back to you, but honestly, it depends who you are because a lot of people don't truly care. However, if you're my friend and I truly care about you, I will listen and give you advice, hoping one day I can get it back when I'm having a bad day. Yes, reciprocation is always important.
That goes back to the imbalance that I was talking about earlier. Like, if y'all values are not balanced, like what type of friendships do y'all really have? You either need to balance that out, or maybe y'all not as good friends as y'all think y'all are, you know? But like she said, people who will sit here and let you bawl your eyes out and then stare at you like, what do you want me to say? You're done. Wrap it up. Put the fries in the bag. You're done. You're done. That's crazy.
All right, since we're putting fries in the bag, let's serve it to somebody else. What makes a bad friend to you guys?
Oh, I'm gonna let Fiza answer that first.
Someone who is not understanding. I keep saying this. Like, to me, someone who can be calm and understanding when need be, but also be like chaotic and talk nonsense with me when need be. Like, I like my people weird. I like my people with personality. I need you to be able to be weird with me. I need you to be able to have the same values as me. I need you to be able to like express interest in my interests and let me know of your interests and values so then I can express my interest in that, you know? Like, it has to be such a mutual thing. Like, it can't just be a friendship in my mind. We both have to have that mindset. So then when we reach like rough points or rocky like roads in our friendship or a bump in the road, then we can like work that out and communicate that out. And for example, like me and my good friend Jelena, who's not here because she won't listen to me, but that's besides the point. She's like, honestly, I could talk about her for hours. She is so amazing and I love her so much because she is so understanding of a person. Like, she is really silly, and I feel like to other people, for those of you who know her, she just seems like a degenerate but a funny one. But at the same time, she is so understanding, and like if we ever have like a disagreement, we've only ever had one disagreement in our life, like in our friendship, and we've been friends for 3 years already.
Can we talk about put that on the list to talk about? Because I've seen her post. It says talk about ghosting, and then we're gonna talk about what you just said about disagreements, because we didn't talk about that yet. So go ahead.
We had a disagreement. It was only one disagreement in our entire friendship because we're so good with communication. And it was just like a small thing that like I didn't communicate to her about, and she communicated that to me, but it wasn't even like aggressive. She just like texted me, and then we went on a call, and she was like, why didn't you tell me about this? And I was just like, it just didn't occur to me. My biggest flaw in a friendship is I just never remember things, and I'm never consistent with reaching out and communication when it comes to like, if it's like, again, out of sight, out of mind. It just didn't seem like that big of a deal to me, and I didn't know it was to her because she didn't tell me. After she told me and communicated that to me, I immediately took the fault because it was my fault at the end of the day, and I could acknowledge that because she is such a good friend to me that I could realize she was hurt, and I had to take accountability for that because I did in the end cause this, and it was an issue on my part because I didn't communicate it to her. And then she apologized because she came off a little like passive aggressive, and she was like, no, I'm like not blaming you, it's just I wish you could have told me. And then we agreed to each other, like, if anything ever goes on, we'll communicate it better to each other, we'll have better communication in general, and like everything's been smooth sailing. Like, I love Lena so much. I could talk about her for hours, and it's just like understanding is such a big, important, significant thing to have in friendships if you want them to last and you want them to be meaningful.
I like what you said about apology, because what makes a bad friend if you can't apologize, gang? Because disagreements are inevitable to this any relationship, family, romantic, friendship, work related, any relationship. It's two people trying to come together and two trying to navigate the same space. People are different. I know we have that friend be like, oh yeah, like that's my twin for real, but like really nobody's exactly the same. There's something that y'all gonna disagree, you know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of how big of the proportion it becomes. You may not argue, but you will disagree. It's just natural. That's how people work, right? It's gonna happen eventually, right? And so how you navigate that is really important. And if you cannot apologize when you're wrong, accountability is so important. If you can't see somebody else's perspective and say, hey, okay, even if I didn't mean it like that, that's how it came off, I apologize sincerely. Or yeah, I did this, I was wrong for that, sincerely I apologize. Whatever it is, a real sincere apology, because I know they taught y'all this in school. You say what you did, what you sorry for, you won't do it again. That's the 3 basic things of apology. I don't know where this idea came in, that just because you said I'm sorry, that makes it an apology. It's just not. Or my bad, that's not an apology. Like, you know, so I just feel like accountability is very important. It doesn't have to be such a long paragraph explaining how you're so sorry, but it's about sincerity, you know what I mean? Because you can never really move forward in your friendship for it to be stronger if y'all still have unresolved issues. You know what I mean? I just feel like harboring those things, it's just, you know, but the intent makes the apology exactly. Okay, now y'all going off about comforting in the chat, as y'all said. If you're not willing to see the situation from the other person's perspective, right, that's absolutely not. It's about noticing where you messed up and not letting the person feel like they are in the wrong, right? Because I feel like there's situations where both people are in the wrong, but when there's situations that like really all the blame is on one person, it's really up to that person to, if they really value the friendship, to, you know, take that and make it a priority, make your friends' feelings a priority. You know what I mean? That's how I feel like you real friends for real. Like if I care, I should care about how I made you feel. You know what I mean? Your feelings should matter to me. You know what I mean? And if I don't feel like my feelings matter to you, then are we really friends? I feel like that just doesn't make a good friend. Yo, don't be negative every single situation, and you know you right? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna let you talk about that. Go ahead.
There are certain situations out there where, okay, somebody gives you an apology, right? But in the apology, they be like, oh, but like in 3rd grade, girl, like she did this to me, and then it happened again in like 8th grade. Like, don't be sitting there giving me every single like background story of your past, trying to, you know, bypass the apology you're supposed to give. Like, no, I don't want to sit there and take that. You are at fault for what you did. You have to acknowledge that, okay? That's a big step in a friendship, and you have to make sure you are moving on, not just moving on, but making sure you're not doing those mistakes again. Like, seriously, I'm sorry. I'm very passionate about that. Like, there's so many situations where you get an apology and they just sit there and tell you every single small step in their life that caused them to be this way. Like, okay, you can acknowledge that you're like that, but you can't acknowledge that you're wrong.
Right.
That, you know?
And I feel like people, that's another thing. I feel like that same thing, a lot of people will be able to like realize that in relationships. Oh, you're not finna gaslight me because right? And manipulate you, like she said in the chat, right? But like in friendships, it's the exact same thing. Like I feel like a lot of times our standards are not the same in friendships. Like a lot of us will be in toxic friendships that we don't even acknowledge is toxic. Like that's, I don't think people don't understand that like toxic doesn't only applies to relationships. Like psychologically, a toxic relationship could be anybody. You know what I'm saying? People can be toxic no matter how in relationship they are to you. Oh my God, don't get me started on toxic families. Don't get me started. But toxicity can come from anywhere. You know what I mean? And so like I've literally seen people, I'd be like, they are not a good friend. Like they did XYZ to you and y'all are still friends, and you just let them like, oh well, like why? It hurts me so bad. So when I see people who have no standard or self-respect for them, even in friendships, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times friendship pain be hurting different. I don't know if I ever went through a friendship breakup, but it just hurts different. It's just very, very, very important to find a way to learn how to improve yourself before you can even, because you can't be nothing for nobody if you yourself ain't right. So all them excuses, like Angie just said, is, oh, you know, I'm like this because XYZ did it. Like, okay, you got some Joker level backstory. We get it. Okay, like, you know, that's cool, but you need to work on yourself so you can be the best you can be for everybody who comes across your life.
I was gonna bounce off what Angie said and you said as well. Like speaking of apologies, you have to be so careful and good with your words when you like talk to someone you truly care about. Like if you truly care about someone and consider them a true friend, you have to actually care. And you can always tell when someone does in like said relationship or friendship based on the way to communicate with you or have a serious conversation with you or apologize to you in a disagreement. For example, a really great example that I think about all the time is I hate when people apologize to you and say, I'm sorry you feel that way. Do not say that to me. If I tell you how I feel and you tell me, I'm sorry you feel that way. No, I have never said that. I'm proud to say the moment I realized that that was like a really rude thing to say and it made me feel negative, I have never said that to someone. I always say, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. And I'm sorry I didn't care enough to realize that I made you feel that way. Because it's not a matter of, I'm sorry if you feel that way. They do feel that way. It's not a matter of if. And the reason they feel that way is because of me. And I have to take accountability for that. I have to take responsibility for that because it was, in the end, directly my fault for not being communicative or a better friend, you know? I have to take that accountability.
Right, like she said, that's basically saying that's a you problem for being offended. Like, what? I'm sorry if I da-da-da-da. Like, no, I'm telling you that you did. Like, question mark? It dismisses someone's experience and portrays a feeling that you can blame them for, right? Then that's... I feel like that's just top tier level. That's just like guilt tripping. Like, how you gonna make me feel guilty that I was offended by the thing that you did that was wrong? Like, that's crazy work. It's gaslighting. It's worse than no apology. Right. And I feel like people don't really truly understand, like, gaslighting is not just like a social term that people just like throw around. It's like, oh, you're not gonna gaslight me into thinking that, like, no, like, gaslighting is actually a manipulation technique often seen in toxic, abusive, any type of relationship, right? And it makes you question your reality. It makes you question, are you actually crazy? Like, am I bugged out for feeling this way? And then you turn it all within yourself. And it, like she just said, it's so common because of how many people use it like unconsciously, you know, and so how many people do it unconsciously. Like, both of those are bad, you know what I'm saying? You know, you can't attribute somebody as gaslighting when they're not gaslighting you, and then we can't be so comfortable with gaslighting that we just think everything is gaslighting. That's just not how that works, you know. But in general, as we bring the episode to a close, where are we at, y'all? Angie, Fiza, y'all can talk about it. Where are you in your current friendship situation? Lessons that you've learned. Are you satisfied with where you are, the people in your life? Anything you would want to change? Anything that you're looking forward to? You looking for new friends?
So I think currently in my friendships, I mean, I'm not where I want to be, right? I mean, everyone is always saying, you know, they're a great friend, but I feel like in life, you are always learning. You will always be learning. So I don't think I'm ever going to stop learning to be a good friend.
I think, honestly, I'm trying my best not to dedicate. This is going to sound really bad, but I'm trying my best not to, like, give my all. I can't commit to it. I know I won't be able to, like, fully give my all in that friendship. And if I'm going to have a friendship or I'm going to form a friendship, I want to be able to give my 100%. And even in the friendships that I am in right now, I don't think I'm, like, a bad friend, but I don't think I'm giving the best that I could be giving. That's because I put everything on the same level. I'm not horrible, first of all. I am here in Dana's club right now. I think that speaks volumes for itself.
That's good. I guess I'll go last. Well, if I'm being honest, I think I'm the best friend that any of y'all have ever had. Okay, I'm just playing. Anyways, but no, in reality, I'm not perfect. I think I tend to let my overthinking get the best of me, and I will, you know, overreact a lot of the time. You know, so I definitely am working on, like, you know, no, Angie, that's the exact thing that I'm working on. I'm definitely working for my more sensitive friends. Not that I have a lot of them, thankfully, because Lord, I don't think I could tiptoe around that many people. But adjusting, you know, who I am, not giving up who I am, and, you know, doing what she just said. But more so just adjusting to the people that I care about, you know, because not everybody is the same. That's what I'm working on. But I'm always open to people telling me what they need and to listen to them and everything like that. I feel like that's one of my greatest chances. Like, even if I was the worst friend in the book, even if I ain't do nothing right, I feel like the one thing that gives me hope is that I'm always willing to receive feedback. And, like, if anybody ever has a problem with me, or I don't like what you did, or I don't like what you said, they should feel like they're able to come to me and say XYZ. You know, I always put that out there. Like, even, I know I've been in class and I know y'all will see that. I'll be like, listen, if I say something that's crazy off the wall, y'all let me know and I'm gonna take accountability for that. You know, so I'm always trying to go back and fix that, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I do have. So I don't know, we all have things that we working on, but I can say I think this was a great episode. How did y'all feel? Yeah. Oh, thank you so much to Fiza and Angelique for being on the panel. This was really good. One thing I respect about you is that you push people to be their best true self. I thank you so much, because I genuinely do try. I genuinely try because I care about y'all. If I did not care, I would not be on your bumper talking about some, why did you do this? Like, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't care, honestly, because I want to see the best version for everybody and I want them to succeed genuinely. And I always do that. I'm trying, I really do. This episode strongly addresses makes an interpersonal relationship healthy, which is something more people to be aware. Yeah, let's bring awareness to healthy friendships, y'all. And if you're not in a healthy friendship, man, go fix that, you know. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much for listening. And always remember, everything you need is in your DNA.